Yes, sir. How you doing, Hezeleo?
Everything good. I got kind of like a little feedback on your vocal.
What
What
about
you
now?
got going? Huh?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. It sound kind of weird. What you got going on with the vocal?
Since I got these Bluetooth headphones in, you think that's an issue?
It might be.
Yeah. Let's
Might
see right
be.
quick.
Yeah, probably use your regular vocal from your phone. That'll probably be better.
How's that?
Uh keep talking.
Yeah. Let me know if it sounds good now.
It's better. Uh because the Bluetooth joint was giving some feedback. This is more natural.
Okay.
But we live, man. So go on, introduce yourself. Let's get into it.
Well, I go by Lalo Towers. I'm originally from Port Arthur in Cali right now, doing my thing. You know what I
Already.
mean? Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So you were born and raised in PA?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How was your childhood growing up in PA, man?
Honestly, man, like I talk about it in a lot of my music. You know what I'm saying? I got a bar where I say I was sheltered as a child. That was then. This is now. So coming up, man, like for lack of a better term, my pops tried to keep the blindfold over my eyes. You know what I'm saying, to keep me from seeing certain things. But all he did was prolong the inevitable. You know what I mean? I grew up. I went to Franklin. I grew up on the east side, but I went to Franklin, and then I ended up going to Woodrow, and then I ended up going to SFA, and then once I hit SFA, they converted everything to where it was Memorial. So I went to Memorial. Um, so I had a bit of a delayed start, but nonetheless, like I'm Port Arthur everywhere I go. You know what I'm saying? I got it on me. My peace and my anarchy is PA. So
When
you
you
get to
say
see.
when you say that Pops had put a veil over your eyes and was trying to block you from certain things, you care to get off into what it possibly was he didn't want you to see?
I mean, basically, man, coming up is like any other ethnic household. You know what I mean? Like, especially being that I'm first generation here. My people came from Mexico. You know what I mean? So, like, there were certain things that were still going on. And don't get me wrong, like when I was little, like I remember him bringing me to like the pool hall and stuff, and certain situations and being around certain things. But I guess I started getting older. He figured I was watching, and he tried to like double back on that. You know what I mean? He started to chill out, so he wanted immediately for to change the perspective that I was looking at the world from, I'm guessing. Um, a lot of it was, man, like I wasn't really like if I was in the school or a soccer practice, I wasn't really allowed to go nowhere. Like I grew up 2 blocks from the seawall, and like you couldn't have told me that nothing about I couldn't have told you nothing about nothing. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't really allowed to leave the house after a certain age. You feel me? And
About what age was that? Salute to the chat. I see y'all in there.
already. So like I had a few situations by the time I hit third grade, right? So like when I was 5, we was visiting Mexico and I got lost. Like I just walked clean out my grandma's house and I got lost in the town square. They couldn't find me for a good bit. And in Mexico, like that's not something that's to be taken lightly. Like I heard a lot of different stories of people's kids getting kidnapped and people asking for ransom because they think you got bread if you're coming from the United States. You know what I mean? And then if you don't deliver, they deliver you your kid like in body parts. You feel me? Like I heard a few of those stories growing up. Hit third grade, I get ran over in Mexico by these trucks that deliver gallon jugs of water. So I would say by like the end of elementary school, like shit was pretty like locked down. You know what I mean? Like
So you say you were hit by some trucks
I was hit by a
physically?
truck. I was ran over by a truck. They got these like um kind of like what a flatbed is, but they deliver jugs of water because you can't drink the water from the faucet out there. So you gotta
Right.
have like a gallon of water to drink and to cook and stuff. So I was riding a bicycle and I went to the store and on the way back I got pretty much I lost my balance and I got hit by a car. So I got ran over and I got stitches in my arm, on my eyebrow. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure it looked worse than what it was, but like yeah, it was a
So
situation.
Did you have any broken bones?
Nah, I got a bunch of scars. Like my ribs are kind of shaped kind of weird, but I mean nobody ever did anything about it. You know what I mean? It was just I got stitched up, and
How old were you?
huh?
How old were you?
I was in third grade. At this point, I was already in regular classes at Franklin. I remember that because it was I believe it was summer before third grade, so I was like 7, 8 years old.
Damn, my nigga.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They got ran over by a whole truck. Yeah. Okay. So, as a kid, what type of shit you was into? Sports or what type of stuff were you into?
By default, I play soccer. Like my pops play soccer. So from the time I was about 4 or 5 years old, he put me in like the soccer league out there. So I
Okay.
played from that till I was like in high school when I tore up my knee playing for the high school. Um,
So they had soccer in
so
high school?
yeah, I played for Memorial up until my junior year when I tore my knee.
Okay. Okay. So,
Yeah.
you got any siblings?
Yeah, I got two sisters and an older brother from before my pops got with my mom.
Already, already.
Yeah.
Um, when would you say you got off into music? Around what age?
Like honestly, man, like music, I've always enjoyed music. It was like one of my first forms of escape. You know what I mean? That and television. You know what I mean? Just locking in on TV and kind of blocking everything out, or locking in on a song and blocking everything out. I remember third grade. I also caught wind of my first like rap song, which was "So Fresh and So Clean" Outkast. By fifth grade, one of my classmates showed me SPM Mexican radio. Um, Growing up, like I would hear what's it called? Want to be a baller, shot call. Like my uncles was listening to that. Like
Yeah.
so I never really had the ability to like read the CD covers and see who everybody was, but the music was around me. You know what I mean? And from corridos in Spanish all the way to like I said, like Outkast, SPM. And then growing up, got introduced to Eminem. Once he dropped in '99, I was about 10 years old. My uncle was
Okay.
listening to that. So some rock music as well, old music from like the '80s and the '70s, like ballads. Watched some biopics of older artists, like Cadillac Records. Got introduced to like Muddy Waters and Etta
Yeah, I remember
James.
that.
Yeah, so I've always been
So you
fascinated by the music.
and you started doing music at about what age?
Like really taking it serious. I want to say I was about 19, 20. Before that, I had a homie that at Woodrow they was giving out laptops because of some situation they had going. And he had a garage band on there. So I was like 14 at the time. He was younger. He was like 12, maybe 13, and he showed me how to record on that. He was doing some songs. So that kind of was the introduction, like real quick, real brief. He was my
At
pop's
age
godfather.
14.
Huh?
At age 14.
Yeah. It was like eighth grade at like 13, 14. So it was a real brief introduction. We was recording through like a little desktop microphone, and he was my pop's godson. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? His pops and my pops were homies. So he kind of would come over, and he would like the few times he was able to come over because I wasn't able to go to nobody's crib, so people had to come over to the crib. You know what I mean? And he kind of introduced me to that, and that shit was dope. That shit was dope. I really enjoyed it. From there,
So
like I would
14,
start writing. What's up?
14 to about in between 19. What were you doing with the music from in between 14 and 19?
Man, nothing really. I would write. I had like this little tablet that I would write, you know what I'm saying, a lot of my stuff down. And then sure as shit, the old man, like, you know how in movies they got where they shake down the cell
Yeah.
and they search for shit like contraband. Well, my pops was like, when I say he was strict, like he was strict. Like he went through my shit and he started like, you know what I'm saying? And he found my notebook and he was like, he pretty much like, what the fuck is this and that, woo, woo, woo. And like he did not approve. Let's leave it at that. You know what I mean? That was not the thing to do. So that kind of like killed it for a little bit. You feel what I'm saying? Because as anybody, I feel like on my journey, I have learned like, yeah, we all grow into what we grow into to survive, but at the pure essence of being a kid, most kids look up to their parents. Like they just want their parents to be proud of them and shit. You feel me? Like accept them for who they are, and it's not always the case. So that kind of killed it for a little bit. But as I got older, I just kind of started like, fuck it, it is what it is, bro. Like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I'm gonna just do what I do. And yeah.
So you and your dad had a pretty close relationship, right?
Not really. It was more or less like the relationship between I don't know, man. Like me and his relationship was interesting because my pops was I'm gonna say this off rip. My pops was like loved by many people. Like many people admired him, looked up to him, this, that, and the third. But at the same time, like the other face of that coin, many people feared him. You know what I mean? Like they knew he wasn't one to play with. So I grew into one of those people who I feared my father, like you know what I mean, the fear of God type shit. Like I feared this man, you feel me? And it wasn't necessarily a close relationship because I had to walk on eggshells around him. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't just nothing was ever good enough. Like no, and at the end of the day, honestly, man, like we didn't really talk much. Like our conversations weren't like these long situations. Like it was more like lectures and disapprovals and but on the flip side, I run into people and they would tell me like how proud he would say he was of me, but like he would never say that to me. You feel me? Like
Probably
the
he
whole
probably was
world knew how proud he
conditioning.
was except for me. You feel me? So
He was probably conditioning you for this world. Um, some people have different ways of doing it. My approach with my son was from the formula of what I didn't receive from my dad. So I wanted to cover all bases. So I wanted to be a father, a friend. I wanted to be everything. You know what I mean? And so
yeah,
my approach was totally different. At times, I put my foot down, and he knew I could put my foot down. But the majority of the time, I wanted to have an open line of communication so he don't have no questions of who I am or the love or what we really got going on. It backfired a little bit, but still we got a crazy relationship. Um, I don't know if you want to dig off into this, but you wind up losing your dad, right?
yeah, man. And as far as like stuff like that or just in general, my journey, like I'm pretty open about it on my music. So I've spoken about it a few times. And so like 2016 on Father's Day, uh, it goes back to the whole thing I was talking about earlier. Like I feel like it all has to do with mental health. You feel me? And long story short, he was battling his demons. You know what I mean? Like, and there was a reason why he was feared. And um, death was always a subject of conversation. You know what I mean? Like that was one thing he didn't fear talking about. Like I remember growing up, he did tell me like if anybody ever did something to him, it was on me to go get that get back. You know what I mean? Like that was my responsibility as his son. And I was like, okay, bet. Like as a kid, you don't know what he's talking about. You know what I mean? You get older, you kind of start figuring it out. But it kind of fucked me up when it was him that got him. So um, like ain't nobody to get back. You know what I mean? Like it's just and it was a surprise because I would say like we didn't have many conversations, but about a month before that, we had the longest conversation we ever had. And I don't know if he was like preparing because he did go visit a bunch of people. He made sure he saw his kids. He made sure he saw his siblings, like leading up to that. And in hindsight, we see this, but at the moment, we just thought he was going to see what's up with everybody. You know what I mean? And I talked to him that morning. I had a video shoot the night before. Um, it didn't go the greatest. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a show and a video shoot. Nobody showed up for the show. I'm gonna keep it a buck, other than the people that were there for the shoot. And he asked me how it went. I mean, I capped. I was like, man, it went good, bro. Like, it is what it is. I was kind of hungover. It's Father's Day. I ended up crashing on his couch. Me and his old lady crashed at his spot because it was late. Woke up. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go to my spot. I'm gonna get ready. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do the Father's Day thing. And I talked to him that morning. I was gone maybe like 8:30 in the morning. By the time I got back to the crib, he wasn't with us no more. He was out of it. He was gone.
He was gone.
Yeah.
And he took himself out.
Yeah, with the 45, baby. Yeah, I ended up going in. I didn't want to believe it. So I did go, the cops wasn't letting me go in the room because they had to do whatever they was doing. And finally, like, there was like, we done. And I remember walking in and I remember hearing one of them say, like, why would you want to see that? And I'm telling them, I'm like, man, that's my father, bro. Like, what are you talking about, dog? So I gotta, regardless of our relationship, you feel me? Like, that's part of it, you know what I mean? Like, that's part of me forever and ever. So I went up in there and he was laid out though, man. Like he was fresh though. Like he legit, like he did his hair, he shaved, he put his clothes on, he put his dress shoes on, he had his cologne on, like his hair was done, like and his body was laying there, man. He was leaking. And
My nigga, you strong than the bitch. Nigga, that shit got tears in my eyes, goddamn. My
yeah,
bad. I ain't no
it's
hope, boy. I love you, my nigga.
love you
I
too, man.
love
I appreciate it, man. And yeah, it's part of it, man. Like I be clowning about it like it's regular, but I know people don't go through shit like that. But part of how he raised me was like, ain't nobody supposed to see you cry. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't get I don't give a fuck. Nigga, I be crying like a bitch around here. Nigga, I'm crying right now, goddamn, you know what I mean? Because I know how deep that shit really is. You know, I'm an empath. I feel for people. But we gonna keep on going. We ain't came to have no depression session because there's some beautiful things going on in life. So
already.
what age did you meet young Heezy?
Well, I met He's when I was like, ooh, we shot Johnny Cash Swag summer of 22. So
Okay,
I met him a few months before that. So I was still 21.
okay.
Uh,
What happened? You froze. Somebody must have called his phone.
all right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, what happened?
All right, so basically I met you in 2010.
You
I
met me
was
first?
at Fuel Depot. I ran into you. And I
You met
was
me first?
yeah, I met you first. I met you at a gas station, Fuel Depot, Gulfway 2010. I had the Cushville Paper Volume 1 CDs that I had pressed up and wrote with the Sharpie. And
Okay.
I was I was trying to get off them. And then you had told me about a Mardi Gras show that you had coming up. And you was like, hey, look, I ain't got no more slots left, but if you pull up and something goes down, or somebody doesn't show up, you can hop up. Like you'll be like first runner up or whatever. And I was like, okay, bet. So I pull up and some homie CD didn't work. So you was like, you got the CD? I was like, bet. And DJ, the 102.5 DJ was there.
Yeah,
Anyways, like,
Red.
yeah, yeah,
Jazzy
yeah,
Reds.
yeah, yeah. So I gave him the CD. My CD worked. Homies had already not worked. So I went up there and I did the show or whatever. And then Heezy had performed at that show as well, but I hadn't met him then. And then I ran into him again on 6th Street. Like it
In
had to be
Austin
like
or in PA?
in PA
Okay.
because I grew up on 5th, and I was coming back from Sunrise, and yeah, I met him
Sunrise
right
Record
across the
Store?
street. Yeah, the corner store.
Okay.
Yeah, I was driving back to the crib, and he said I remember looking out the window. And he was like, "What's up?" And I was like, "What's up?" He was like, "You Lalo?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "You Young Hees?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Bet." And we hopped in the whip and we started listening to some songs. And Johnny Cash Swag was on there, no third verse. And he was like, "Let me hop on that hoe." And then we went over to the greenhouse probably a couple days later, recorded that he freestyled his verse on there, and then we shot
Uh-huh.
the video that summer. Yeah.
Okay. So check this out. Let me show you what happened when I met you. When I met you, I started watching you because I wanted a Mexican artist. But I was impressed when I talked to you. Like you was really professional, you was really respectful, you know what I mean? And you had an idea of where you wanted to go with what you was doing. So I sat back and I watched you. Certain things didn't fall in place for me the way I thought it would be, you know what I mean? Or I would have came and just grabbed you. But I was actually scouting a lot of niggas while I was in PA. I did get a chance to work with a good bit of people. My main two artists was C Wood, R.I.P., and Block Guard. Uh, it's crazy because he right now locked up with my brother, and he's able to tell my brother some of the stories like you just told me. See, that part of the story, I didn't even know I put you on that show. I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
But what I was doing was I was watching because what I saw was a urban Mexican kid that could have been marketed to everybody. You know what I mean? You were clean cut at the time. You know what I mean? And I was gonna keep you like that, polo down and just talking that shit. You know what I'm saying? And things didn't fall away. It was supposed to fall for me. Unfortunately, you know what took place and everything. But I fought my fight and I tried to do right by people. But I just wanted to tell you that.
I appreciate it, man. It worked out. Everything happened as it needs to.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah. So being a Mexican artist in Port Arthur, pushing your line, like, were you received by everybody, or how was that?
Honestly, man, like being that the habits that I developed coming up, like being that I wore shelter, like a lot of things like I wasn't aware of. You know what I mean? Like I did have people that fuck with me for sure. Um, like for example, when I said I got introduced to Outkast in third grade, my mother, on the other hand, was very loving, very accepting, and she wanted me to progress. So I went from ESL classes to regular classes in elementary school. And by third grade, I was the only Mexican in a class full of African American students or black students, depending on who you ask. You know what I mean? People claim different things. But so I was around since third grade, like very heavily influenced. You know what I mean? My teachers were black, like a lot of the homies were black. Like at school, like people that showed me love, people introduced me to hip hop, like it was just a part of it. You know what I mean? So to me, it was cool. So like when my father didn't accept it, I didn't understand why. Like that we come from a different culture. The way I looked at it, I was just a different color on the brown scale. You know what I mean? Because they had kids that were lighter than me and kids that were darker than me, but we was all in the same class. Um,
Right.
so like growing up, it was difficult because I was too black for the Mexicans, but too Mexican for the blacks. Like if you didn't know me, I was just face value. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you talk like that? Why do you dress like that? Why do you listen to music you listen to? Like, I never really fit in nowhere. You know what I
Damn.
mean?
What about with the
Um,
white?
well, I played soccer with them, but even then, I knew that I was out of place. Like, it was me and my homie Jared that was on the team with me. We was the only people of color on the team. Everybody else was white. You know what I'm saying? So we
You
gravitated
gotta
towards each
you gotta
other.
say that again because I ain't like, man, racism and prejudice is just like it goes with everybody. You think sometimes it's just a black and a white thing or a white and a Mexican thing, but you got racism and people being prejudiced with your own damn race. So you say you wasn't Mexican enough for the Mexicans, and you was say how did you say that?
I said I was too Mexican for the blacks and too black for the Mexicans.
Damn.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't really aware of the full blown Texas Mexican culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Growing up, like a lot of the people that I grew up with were people like me, first generation Mexican. You know what I mean? And then
What
again,
does
like
that
what you,
mean?
huh?
What does that mean? First generation Mexican.
So like my father was born in Mexico, and at one point or another he crossed over here, as we do, and so I was born here.
Okay.
My mother was born here, but she was raised in Mexico up until high school, and then she came back over here. You know
So
what I'm
you
saying?
spoke off top. You spoke fluent Spanish.
Yes, sir. Like at home, I had to speak Spanish. I still speak Spanish. Like it wasn't another option. We spoke Spanish at home. Like,
And that's why I wanted to give you a record deal. Now,
yeah, but
hey, when you walked up on me, I said, "Ooh, nigga, this nigga here a professional, manable. This nigga is bilingual. Boy, we finna fuck some bitch."
hell yeah, hell yeah. But
Hello, man. Yeah.
so like I really wasn't aware of who was fucking with it or not. And at the same time, like back to the mental health thing, like your kids become what you pour into them. So if you pour
Right.
confidence into them, like they're gonna grow up confident. If you pour other bullshit into them, it's gonna either they're gonna repeat the cycle, or they're gonna be aware of that and have to work on that and find a way to build their confidence. You know what I mean? So
I'm
at
a,
that time, like I was heavy into getting thrown, whether it was drinking or smoking, like just to exist. You know what I mean?
I
Like
didn't
I
see
ended,
that. I didn't
hmm?
see that in you, but I heard it in your content.
Yeah. So like at the end of the day, regardless of anything else, my mom raised me to be respectful. My pops did too. And regardless of what I do, like I didn't feel like I needed to put any kind of. I don't get points for being disrespectful. Like if you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it. Not you don't gotta be loud about it. You don't gotta be disrespectful about it. You're gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So like a bark, like what they say, a dog that barks don't bite. You know what I mean? Like it was unnecessary to me. But like I knew that I was hurting and I was feeling some type of way about something. I didn't know why. I was not that self aware at the time. So yeah, I would drink. You know what I'm saying? I would smoke. I ended up on papers when I met He's. I was on papers, so I was smoking that K2, which I talk about that in
Damn.
my music too. So like, and then I dove on into some like harder shit. You know what I mean? As the years progressed, but it was never something that like I knew for shit show. My mom was not gonna see me strung out. I knew my mom was not going like that was not something that I was gonna put out there into the world. So if I was doing stuff like I could handle my shit, you know what I'm saying? Do the drug,
What
don't
was
let
the
it do
hardest
you.
shit you ever done?
The hardest shit, I got a funny story. So like I'm Mexican, you know what I'm saying? Mexicans do coke, you know what I'm saying? We drink, do coke, whatever. So I spoke about this in my music too. Well, one night I was, riding around PA trying to work on my entrepreneur endeavors, you know what I mean? And a homie needed something. So I pulled up on him. He got what he needed and he was like, "What's up? You trying to partake?" And I'm thinking it's yay. I'm gonna be up all night. I'm like, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? It's good, let's go. So at the time, I wasn't aware of what it was, but we go to the spot, after he like gave me the money or whatever, and we're kicking it, and he does a couple of lines, and he's like, "Okay, as you." I'm like, "Bet." So I hit that, and it burns from the like right here to the back of my brain, like my whole head is on fire. I'm like, "Man, bro, what that shit was cut like with some bad shit, bro. What the fuck is that? That yeah ain't no good, dog. Who gave you that?" He's like, "Man, that ain't yay, bro. It's meth." I'm like, get the fuck, bro. He's like, nah, yeah, yeah, yeah. And like they laughing. Like I turned around and this fool got like a little aluminum foil and they lighting that bitch up, sucking it through a straw. And I'm like, man, what the fuck, dog? Like for real? And long story short, I went back to the crib. I locked myself in the room for a couple of days and I didn't come out until I felt like I was kind of like leveled out. Cause like I understand what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit ain't nothing to play with. So it was already done. The deed was done. So I had to kind of just ride that shit out. But that was the one and only time, and that was by accident, like for real, cause yeah, like nah,
I
that's not
appreciate you.
something to play with.
I appreciate you sharing that with me. And I knew something had to be wrong when you said it started burning from the front to the back. Cause
Yeah,
my dumb
man.
ass, I did coke before, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That
and
didn't sound like that.
it's not, and like it's one of those things, man. Like I was trying to find a way to fix that void inside. You know what I mean? And a lot of people do that. Like that's why I don't knock nobody, man. Like, and I try to be as transparent as possible. Like I ain't perfect. I'm far from it. You know what I mean? But like we are hurting. A lot of us are, and we don't know how to deal with that. So we deal it in our own way. We become who we need to become to survive. And like yeah, eventually like I started like diving into psychedelics. First like recreationally, and then I started seeing the medicinal effects of it, like how people use it for medicine in their rituals, like back in like Native American times, like in different cultures from Africa to North America, they would use these plants as medicine. So I
Yeah.
slowly started going that route, and I'm proud to say that I am completely sober as of right now. Like no caffeine, no weed, no drink, nothing. I drink water. I haven't smoked weed in like 6 months. Been off the caffeine for like a month, but I slowly started letting shit go. With like mushrooms and ayahuasca and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you pretty much heavy off into fitness nowadays, right?
yeah, definitely, definitely, I had to like get back right. You know what I mean? I had to. There's a term they say you got to find your way home, and home is like your true self.
You got a record that's one of my favorite records by you. Um, damn near forgot the name of that bitch though. Let me see the name of that bitch. I want to pull it up right now.
For sure.
Uh,
What's it? How does it go?
it's dark. It's emotional.
Well, I gotta take
Paranoia.
notes.
It's one about paranoia.
Oh, Paranoia. It's called Paranoia.
That's the name of it, right?
Yeah, I got the regular and the remix.
Let me see. Man, I damn near should have hollered at you and say, man, let me get on that motherfucking paranoia, fool.
Yeah.
Let me get on that bitch and skits out with you. So
Yeah.
you got one that's a original and a remix.
Yeah, the remix has I Can from Beaumont. She a female artist out of Beaumont. Um,
I see
and
the
the
official
original
video.
just Paranoia. Uh,
Let me see. Man, that shit dope, nigga.
I appreciate it.
The best of me, best of me, best of me, yeah. And the drugs take the rest of me, rest of me, rest of me, yeah. I am tripping, I am tripping, I am tripping, I am tripping on another level. As a battle, as a battle, as a battle, as a battle. You're the devil. Roses burn for focuses. Death approaches. Fingertips burned by roaches. With every passing moment, I realize I don't know just still. I will now forfeit dodging hate filled bullets as people become corpses. I live and I learn. Don't wait for your turn. Take today what you can. For tomorrow is earned. For tomorrow can be a don't return. For tomorrow can be the best of the worst. For tomorrow I can see the fruits of my work. For tomorrow I can meet death in a herd. Know that has the best of me. Yeah, that's a dope record, man.
I appreciate it, family.
Yeah, and the drugs take the rest of me. Rest of me. Rest of me. Yeah, I am tripping. Yeah, y'all go check that out on YouTube, man. It's Paranoia, Lalo Towers. It's also available on the digital platforms too, right?
Yes, sir. Across all digital platforms, everything, Spotify, Apple, Tidal, everything.
You're also, if I'm correct, you're an engineer also, right?
Yeah, and that was really just so I could know a little bit more about the recording process because my goal was always to be on the artist side of things. But
Okay.
I enjoy just creative expression and putting things together. So I went back to Lamar Port Arthur for a couple of semesters and learned a lot while I was there. Had a great teacher by the name of John Farmer who did his thing, and he ended up running that department for a little bit after the fact. But just I appreciated the knowledge that I was given, but also being able to use their facilities because they got like 3 state-of-the-art studios and met a lot of good people there too. So we
So
actually cut a few records there.
that's what I heard. I heard that the facility, uh, they didn't spare no expense. I heard it was really what that was.
Yeah, yeah, and as I mentioned, like John was there for a good bit, and he like really innovated the program. He's originally from Boston, and he's heavy like with the hip hop rap side of things, and very talented individual. Learned a lot from him.
Yeah, I heard he was a part of some major releases, right?
Yeah, to my understanding, off top, I can't tell you exactly which ones it was, but I know he had mentioned them back in the day, and like that's what he does. Like he taught at the school, but like that was something that he did. Like he was active with it. He wasn't just a teacher.
Let me ask you this. So, how would you describe your musical journey and what's been some of your highest highs and what's been some of your lows?
Like my how I would describe the musical journey is essentially my music grows with me. So like I'm giving you that moment in time what I was going through at that time, like with my lack of self awareness or my heightened self awareness, depending on what period you're listening to me at. Like it's basically like a timeline of things that I've been through. Sometimes like I'll go back and tell stories from my past, like on a song called Lost or a song called No Worries. Sometimes I'm giving you the right then and there. But it grows with me. So like what I was 10 years ago ain't what I am today, and what I will be 10 years from now ain't what I am today. You know what I'm saying? The goal is to constantly grow and evolve and just learn myself as best as I can. You know what I mean? Because the better you know yourself, and the better you can help yourself, the better you can help others. And then as far as like the lows, is really the times I was stuck in my head when there was really people like fucking with me and supporting me, but I was so stuck in like that lack of confidence in like the old man's voice, you know what I'm saying, and all the negativity and shit like on repeat. And then me being stuck in a time when like I was younger and I really wished I could have gone out and kicked it in certain places, gone and seen my cousin, like not even the homies, like my cousins, you know what I mean? Like just go out, you know, like I feel like I missed a lot of time because of
So
that.
you
Like
you couldn't
people
even
follow
go
my
fuck with your cousins?
nah. Like I could like if it was a birthday or something or my pops was there, but it wasn't like I could just go hang out at their crib now. Like like nothing, bro. Like I was like I say it in the song, I grew up in isolation. You know what I mean? Like so um it's just like the biggest prison I had to escape with my mind because I was perceiving all these things, you know what I mean? And the lack of awareness. I didn't realize that I had people I could reach out to and ask for help. Because when I did reach out and ask for help, 9 times out of 10, those people were afraid of my dad. So they were just pointing back in the direction of my dad. Like, nah, you got to go chop it up with your pops about this. I ain't getting in there. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So I felt like I was just stuck. You know what I mean? And for a long time, that's what it was. So even though people were fucking with my shit, thinking my shit was dope or whatever, like, I couldn't see that because I was so stuck in here. You know what I mean? And then like some of my highs were whenever I started just telling my story and speaking my truth, and people were receptive to it, like on Bounce Back, like on Bad Vibes, like some of my darker parts of my journey. I just put them on record, and people love the pain, which is wild. Like, cause I'm trying to heal, but people like fuck with the damaged part of me. You know what I mean? Like, so I've just been enjoying the whole situation. I firmly believe everything had to happen the way it happened for this to happen the way it's happening.
And what you explained earlier about the music evolving as you evolve, when we did that record Strong Enough, you caught me at a time when my awareness was it was crazy because it wasn't about cars, clothes, and the culture. It was about being strong enough to endure all the travesties and the damage that racism in the world and just social injustice had been caused. So the verse I put down for you, it was totally different than I would normally put something down. But I'm glad that at that time you got at me because I was able to convey that on your song and shit. And that's another one of the songs that I really like, you know what I'm saying, that you have. We put some real shit down on that record.
Yeah, that verse was hard, man. I really enjoyed that verse, like just the wordplay and the story you were telling, and like how ain't shit really changed. You know what I mean? Like the technology has changed. Like some things are more like hidden now. It's not so like belligerent or in like blatant, but like there's still like you know what I mean. There's still shit going down, and we
Yeah,
can't. People are still judging based on appearance. I guess is what I'm saying. And
yeah,
9 times out of 10 is a trash mentality, man. But like I firmly believe like it is because people are stuck in that cycle. Like somebody before them probably had that, and maybe it got diluted when it got to them, but they haven't taken the time to really assess their thought process. Why do I think this way? Why do I see the
right,
world this way? Is this really how I feel, or did somebody tell me this is the way the world is, and this is how it has to be? And it's on both sides. You know what I'm saying? Like people that are racist aren't born racist. Like kids are just born like kids. They're innocent. Like you watch, like I got a 6-year old. Like they playing, they all homies. They all chilling. It don't matter where they from. You could take them anywhere. They'll make friends like that. You know what I'm saying? And then what you dump into them, the people before they start dumping into them, then they kind of start. You feel me? Especially like if they use violence or extreme means to push their mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like if you do something that's wrong and you hit your kid because you're not supposed to do that or think that or say that or whatever the case may be, man. Like after a while, like the kid's either gonna rebel or the kid's gonna just accept it. That's the way it is. They ain't gonna
yeah.
do
I
nothing
accepted them
about it.
ass whippings my mama gave me. Goddamn, them
Yeah.
motherfuckers, them motherfuckers was necessary and violent. Goddamn. But look, so what would you advise your younger self or anyone getting started as an independent artist?
Man, I would say honestly, man, be true to yourself. Like learn to love yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because like hurt people do hurt people, and a lot of people know that now, and they still hurt people. So love yourself, and then once you gain knowledge, like they say, knowledge is power, and now like applied knowledge is power. because you got all the knowledge in the world, but you ain't doing nothing with it. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's okay to change and evolve and become who you feel you are. You know what I mean? Like, too many people are afraid to break out of that um group. You know what I'm saying? Because they might not be accepted. Because like, don't be afraid to be alone for a little bit.
Come
You
on.
feel what I'm saying? Because depending on where you at, like if you're doing shit to fit in, and it's on the bad side of things, when you if some God forbid fucked up shit happens and you get locked up, you're gonna be alone anyway. Or at the end of every day before you lay your head to sleep, you by yourself anyway. If you really think about it, so you gotta learn you, man. Like, and what's conflicting you, what's bothering you, and at the end of the day, like whatever you gotta work through. Like I work through a lot of my shit through my music. So put it out there because you don't know who could relate. You don't know who's gonna hear your story and be like, man, because that helped me a lot listening to other people's stories. Like, damn, they got other people out here like actually going through shit too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, it
Right.
helped me open my worldview. Like, music helped me open my worldview because there was people from Latin America all the way up here to the East and West Coast that were telling stories that I could relate to. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I was isolated. Like, there was a lot of things like that I didn't, you know what I'm saying, necessarily see other people going through because people put that mask on, they put that face on, they act like everything's okay. And as a kid, you're like, well, everybody's acting like shit's cool. I guess I'm tripping. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Zay, Lalo is fam, but he's a creative. He's an artist. He's an engineer. We're gonna get off into some of the other stuff he's doing in just a second. But yeah, Lalo is fam. You know what I mean? So in entertainment, man, what's some of the goals that you want to achieve that you got set out for yourself?
as of right now, man, like honestly, on the acting side of things, it's just being able to get lost in the character, regardless of what it is, bring life into a character. Um, and people can watch whatever film or show, whatever the case may be, and they don't necessarily see me, like they see the character that's there. So like getting to a point where I'm comfortable enough in my acting career to play with the range. You know what I'm saying? Because right now I'm mainly getting booked for like villainous roles, like a gangster, a drug dealer, you know, a thug, stuff like that. Face value. Again, when they first see me, that's what they see. They don't see nothing else. Regardless of what I may think of myself or how I may view myself, I understand the world doesn't know me. You know what I'm saying? Like I know me, so I'm gonna run with that. I'm gonna take
Yeah,
those
kill it
roles, and
off.
because those are people. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't born like that. They became that. You know what I'm saying? And I understand that on my journey, I have learned that everybody became who they need to become to survive. So like I try to bring a human aspect to those characters, which before in films, those there was no human aspect to the villain, to the thug, to the gangster. It was just like that's a bad person. But why is that person bad? Why did that person become that person? And then later down the line, like yeah, play like roles of just the dad. You know what I'm saying? Like in a family movie or
Let me ask
stuff
you
like that.
this.
Like
So let's say you do get booked for that villainous role, but that approach that you just explained is not in the character, it's not in the what would it be, the script. Do you offer that perspective to the producer or do you just convey it in your acting skills? How do you introduce that?
so basically, like for most, at least to my understanding, most people are going to do character development, whether it is with the producer or the director or on your own, depending on the size of the project. So there's a project that I can't speak too much on as far as like what it is, or they still got to, it's a post production. They still got things they want to do with it, so we can't talk about it too much. But like in that situation, they wrote a script, they wrote a character. I understood what character they were writing, but they didn't necessarily have the verbiage correct. Like certain things, it didn't sound right. Like I don't know nobody that talks like that. You know what I'm saying? Or and I know people from most places. Like I don't know people from everywhere, but I know people, homies from Cali. I know homies from New York. I know homies from Texas. Like personally on one, and I don't know nobody that talks like that. So
Right.
I explained to him, I'm like, I'll get the message across. You know what I'm saying? I know what energy you want this character to be at, but I'm gonna change some of the words. And that director in that particular situation was cool with it. Like we worked on it together. We ran each scene a few times, made sure he was comfortable and happy with it. And you know, at the same time, like I had to make sure that because if I don't believe it, ain't nobody else gonna believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like That's what I love about music. You listen to somebody's story, like you can tell off rip when somebody's full of shit. Like, bro, like you ain't been through this, you ain't seen that shit. Like, what are you talking about? But when it comes to developing a character, like I take from people that I've met, take from my own experiences, and then based on what they wrote on the paper, I create that character. Um, and thankfully, like every director I've worked with is cool with that creative process. I heard there are some that want it to be exactly what it is on paper, and at that point, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Um,
Right. Now, I appreciate you being true to yourself in that sense because um, some of that work we're gonna view it. You know what I mean? Like your audience gonna view it, new people gonna view it, and you need to be believable in those characters. So, like you said, you'll cross that bridge when you get there with one of the producers that's just stern and don't want to change. But I salute you on the ones that you have met and they were open to it. So it's gonna make their project even better. So support being free, right? A simple like, share, or comment. How does it make you feel when people that you know, that you have personal relationships with, doesn't do anything when you post quality shit? Like they don't share, they don't like, they don't comment. Like how does that make you feel?
I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. There was a time whenever I would look heavy into that, like I would look heavy into the comments. But as I've grown, I understand that a lot of times, as we get older, especially, a lot of people are living their own lives. Like a lot of people are doing their thing, and unfortunately, like I, the ones that start supporting later is because they see that like a larger group of people are supporting. But like for the most part, people that I know like on a one-on-one basis, or people that I've hung out with and kicked it with, not just like acquaintances or not just people that I see here and there. Most of them, I see them share like when they get the opportunity to, or comment, or like they're always giving me props on what I do, which I really do appreciate. And that helped me on my journey as well, just building my confidence, like hearing other voices telling me that what I do is dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, because as a creative and as an artist, like you walk a fine line between really being dope and being delusional. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, if you're
Nigga,
the only one that likes it,
I'm hot, my nigga. I'm hot. Fuck you talking
yeah,
about. I'm the trillest ever, nigga. Nigga, this
yeah.
ain't a
So,
fine line of being hot and delusional. Damn it, boy. That nigga dropping that shit tonight.
yeah, so like I just always want to make sure like I'm grounded in my work and that I am producing the best possible product that I can at the time that it's being produced. Um,
So check this shit out. When did you get off from the acting and shit, man? Tell us about that shit.
so like the acting happened in 22. I moved to Austin,
Okay.
and I did 3 videos leading up to moving to Austin. 2 of them in Austin, one of them right before I moved to Austin, and they were real
Music videos?
theatrical. The ones I sent you, the Bad Vibes, My Wake, and Baby. And
Okay.
My Wake and Baby are more theatrical. Like we hired actors for it, and actually like put it together with the director at the time. And obviously, I did a bunch of videos before that that were more like point and shoot, but they were still very dope videos, very good quality product, and we pretty much worked up to that. So on Baby, one of the actresses I was hired, well, the actress I was hired, because it's just me and the actress in that one. She was telling me about her film career that she was pursuing, and like I'm thinking like she about to move to Cali or she about to move to New York, and she was like, "Nah, we're like right here in Texas." I'm like, "Okay," and we kind of just chopped it up, and I kind of left it at that, and I wished her luck. And a month later, 2 months after the video shoot, she posted that they needed extras for a movie. And I was like, okay, cool. I was in Austin at the time. Movie was in Houston, but I reached out. I was curious. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so like, how does this work? Like, y'all shooting a movie? How do I get in on it? She was like, well, look, if you can be here, pull up at this time at this place with this wardrobe, and they'll pay you. They'll give you food. Like they'll feed you breakfast, lunch, and they'll pay you for the day. I'm like, okay, bet. Like I can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, shot down to Houston and was on set for that. It was a Vietnamese mobster film that shot in March of 22. It hasn't released yet. On that set, I got bumped up from just an extra to like one of the guys that stands at the door at the mobster gala, like a bodyguard. And the director was like, okay, just stand right here. The camera's gonna kind of go by you. Just don't look at the camera. I'm like, okay, bet. And that was that. Like I was like, oh, that was a dope experience, and I kept it pushing. Um, and then a few more months went by, and I was still thinking about it. So I reached back out again. I'm like, hey, how do I get more work? Like, how do I like find more jobs? And she put me up on game on how to find more work. And I started taking it serious in August of 22. So I'm barely coming up on 2 years.
And
Uh,
that's what's up. I had been wanted to get off into it, and I did a couple of roles like many years ago. I feature in like a movie called Boss All Bosses. My partner Agony Life out of H Town. And then I did one with a partner of mine named Show, Big Homie Show. But he didn't put his film out. And then I did one more, and I don't know if they put the film out. And so I just said, okay, I'm cool on it. But on my goal list, I want to shoot some of my own films. So what
okay.
I started doing probably like last year, I started getting at, independent filmmakers and letting them know, hey man, I'll come out and do X, Y, and Z, but no off top that I'm peeping game. I'm trying to see something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they were like, hell yeah, we'll have you. So I feature in one film that's out right now called Parole Money 3. It's pretty cool indie film out of East Texas. And then another film that's coming out. It's kind of like a horror, but I only got cameos in that. And I was pissed off because I used to be outside a lot. You know what I mean? I used to be outside a tremendous amount in different areas. And I stopped going outside because it wasn't profitable. I learned how to
Yeah.
be profitable inside. So when I started to step back out to do this movie shit, this one guy got at me, and I was telling him, if you done with the film, hey man, salute you. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. He like, nah, come out, come out, come out. So when I go out, he used me damn near as an extra, and he don't understand. Like, my nigga, I wasn't coming outside, and here you got me coming out for some. You know what I'm saying? But that film
Mm.
is gonna come out pretty soon. So right now, you've been a part of about how many films thus far in that 2 years?
In the almost 2 years that I've been doing it, I have where you can see me in it's a show on Apple called The Last Thing He Told Me. I think it's called The Last Thing He Told Me. I'm like in it for like 3 seconds, but I'm right behind Jennifer Garner.
Come
Um,
on, man.
yeah, so like that was my first film, and not that wasn't even a film; it was a series. So like that was one of the first gigs that I got. I went up there, and again, the director saw me and was like, "What's up with you a student?" It was at UT in Austin. I'm like, "Nah, I was wearing a jersey." I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "Okay, lie to me." He's like, "Don't worry about it." He's like, "Can you walk like behind the main actress in the library scene?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, bet. Whenever she passes this point, you're gonna walk out and you're gonna sit back there, and just like you're a student, you're doing work." I'm like, "Bet." So that one like thankfully came out and I'm like right there. So that was like a big up for me, even though it was just like an extra role. But like I was like, man, it's Jennifer Garner, bro. Like I used to watch her. I had channel 3, channel 6, and channel 12 and channel 29 growing up. And she used to be, I think, on channel 6 on Alias. So like as a kid, I used to see this lady on TV. I was like, holy shit, dog, she right there. So that was cool. And then I did a Adidas photo shoot. I modeled the new AFC jersey for their soccer team in Austin for Adidas. I did that last year. It was like in Dick's Sporting Goods. It was on Fifth Ave in New
Wasn't it
York.
big laminates and everything all over buildings, and you were one of the models for that?
It was I don't know. I never saw it on the building. If somebody did send me a picture, but I saw it in Dick's Sporting Goods for sure in their sports section, and it was on at the Adidas store on Fifth Avenue in New York.
Come on, my
Um,
nigga.
they
Yeah.
had it
Come
on the
on, my
window.
nigga. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Nigga from PA, nigga all in New York. This shit wasn't made in New York. Nigga, this shit was made in Port Arthur. Come on, man.
already,
Yeah,
already,
keep on
man,
going.
and
What else
like
you got?
that shit was dope. And then I did a short film where I played like it was like a horror comedy. That one's on YouTube. I did
What's that one
a bunch
called?
of commercials. Um, I did Darman. I have a speaking role on that one. It's a YouTube channel that does like pretty much the shows that they do or the episodes they do always have like a moral to the story. And it's more for like a younger demographic, but it's like a real positive thing. Like my character in that one was thugging, and it kind of gave him a backstory on why he was thugging, and then he ends up finding a way out at the end. Like there's like a you know what I'm saying? I play the older brother of the main character. on that one. And shout out to Darman. I actually got called back to do another episode with him as another character, and that one should be dropping within the next month.
Come on,
Um,
man.
so that one will be out as well. I could talk about that one. That one was cool. I did that film I was saying about that I really can't say much more about, but that one will be on the on the festival circuit, God willing, at the end of the year, beginning of next year. And then once it runs through the circuit, then we can talk all about it. We can talk about whatever. But they got to
Already.
get it out first. Um, and then I recently did. I'll probably be in the AT&T stores pretty soon. I recently did a shoot with AT&T for like their stores. So if they use my image, it'll be up in the stores. Um, I've done a few. Thankfully, like I've been blessed. Like I'm not to where I'm able to do it completely full time just yet, but enough to where I've seen. Let me put it to this way: I've been doing it for almost 2 years, and I've seen way more money off the acting than I have off the music. And
Come
I
on,
did that
man.
for over a decade.
Let me ask you this. So since some of the producers are open to your suggestions, how about also ask them about submitting songs for their soundtracks or actually creating original pieces for their soundtracks?
I believe it or not, I've been thinking about that. Like honestly, the way I'm looking at it, I'm taking it like one step at a time. So like obviously with anything, you gotta build relationships. You know what I mean? And I want to make sure I'm able to do a good job with what I'm originally there for. And from there, with time, like the music's already out. The music's there. Like I've been pretty much left all the music up on all streaming sites. I recently started doing one take videos where it has like the lyrics, like short form content for like
I've been
Instagram
seeing
and
that.
yeah, and TikTok and stuff. So like songs that I never did music videos to, like those will start kind of coming out. You know what I'm saying? Like they've been on Spotify, they've been sitting there. People probably didn't even know they was out. So like that way, like because I have a lot of songs and they don't all have the same vibe. If I was feeling good that day, like I have a song called Hope that I recorded when I got back from Peru. I went out there to do ayahuasca and I was just like on a cloud, man. And like I wrote a song called Hope and it's real like bright, it's real like vibey, it's real upbeat.
You say you went out there to do what?
Ayahuasca.
Oh, you went out there to do dope.
No,
You
ayahuasca.
smoke crack, don't you?
Nah. Nah, I
What's
went in
ayahuasca?
So ayahuasca is an ancient medicine. They call it either medicine for the soul or decades worth of therapy in one sitting. So it's part of my healing journey. I went out there, pretty much sat with the shaman, and the shaman was like a bug. He kept it a bug. He was like, "Look, what are you here for?" And I broke it down to him, man, because I believe transparency is like I'm gonna be myself, man. At the end of the day, like I'm here for this. And I told him, and he was like, "Cool," and I respect that. He's like, "But at the end of the day, regardless of what you tell me, the medicine knows what you're here for. So like, just be aware of that. You know what I'm saying?"
The
With that, I
medicine
have to
knows
like, what's what's up?
the medicine knows what you're here for. What do you mean?
So ayahuasca is described as a mother. You know what I mean? So it's a very spiritual experience. Some people call it. They say it's like talking to God. You know what I mean? So basically, you go there, and leading up to it, this is what's suggested. Not everybody does it, but I did because a lot of it has to do with intention. So my intention was to heal from things that I may not necessarily know I need to heal from, like a lot of us do, because we like our mind blocks things to protect us, especially when you're younger. So I meditated, pretty much fasted on my way leading up to the ceremony. I was already vegetarian, so that wasn't an issue. And then you get on the ayahuasca diet, so you don't have like salt or sugar or anything like that. So it's real like just pretty much what you need to make it through the day as far as food goes. So you're making these sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? Like I stopped smoking weed for 30 days right before. And you start setting your intention. Like the shaman says, like, what are you there for? So the medicine knows what you're there for because at the end of the day, it's gonna unlock something in your mind. And you've been telling yourself what you're there for. And even if you don't know what you're there for, what needs to be seen is gonna be shown. You know what I mean? So I went, we did 4 sessions in a week. We started at a quarter dose, half dose, 3/4 dose, and a full dose. And then Yeah, man, like it was like afterwards, like I felt real good. Like how I mentioned earlier, like growing up, I was told you're not supposed to cry. So two very specific times that I remember like just letting shit out. My first prolific mushroom experience, I did 3.5 grams, and I did it the same way I would an ayahuasca ceremony. Like I prepared for it. That's when I was like 250 pounds, and that's when I started smoking cigarettes. That's when I started losing the weight. That's when I started
You
making
got
a
up
lot
to
of changes.
250?
I had got up to like 250. Right now
Was you
I'm
like
180.
muscular?
Nah, I was just smoking cigarettes and drinking beer and, and drinking liquor.
Come
You know
on,
what I'm
man.
saying?
A
Yeah, so
real motherfucking Mexican.
so that mushroom experience, like I remember at the end of it, man, like what I gained from that was that all we have is now. So yesterday's a memory, tomorrow hasn't happened, all you have is now. Yesterday was now, tomorrow will be now. Right now is now. Before you know it, now is gonna be a memory and it'll be a different now. But like people
You
get
trying to
stuck in
fuck
what
my
might
head up with all this philosophical shit.
yeah, yeah.
Yesterday, tomorrow,
But
today.
like basically
Come
that's what
on,
it
man. What today is? Do you know what today is? It's my channel anniversary. Nigga,
oh we
I
back,
got
we back.
17,000 motherfucking subscribers, nigga. YouTube send me a message. They say, happy birthday to your channel. They say, we don't know what the fuck you doing over there, but keep on doing it, nigga.
Hell
That's what
yeah.
they say. You back?
Already. But I remember at the end of it, like I don't remember the last time I had cried before that. Cause to be honest with you, man, like I don't really when the that shit happened with the old man, I really didn't. Like, I cried, but it wasn't. It was like I was kind of my reflex is to hold it in. You know what I'm
Damn.
saying? Like don't let it out. Like and to this day, like I'm still working on it. But like that day, I just like out of nowhere at the end of the trip, I just started crying. Same thing with ayahuasca. Like at the end, I felt real light, like a load, like a weight had been lifted off me. You know what I'm saying? And I came back, I made that song called Hope. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes all we need is a little hope that there is that light at the end of the tunnel. You know what I mean? And
I did a spiritual voyage and I took 4 ashwagandha tablets and it was a white bitch. She rubbed her hand on my face. She said, "Oh, darling, let it out." I said, "Man, that nigga fuck my mama,
damn, damn, oh man,
man. Nigga, I ain't never did shit. I ain't been no goddamn well. I'm a pulled off the nigga. I think Gus way
yeah.
with medication."
Ashwagandha wouldn't do that anyway. They say it's good for you though.
So I gotta ask you this old dumbass shit. I don't give a fuck, but I gotta ask you. So you being an artist, maybe you paid a little attention to Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. What's your take on that? What you think happened? Who you think won?
I feel Kendrick won. Honestly, I really enjoyed the songs, and I also like from the beginning, like I fuck with Drake as far as like the he when he first came out, he came out with a song called I just want to it went I just want to be I just successful. It was successful. I think it had like Trey songs on it. I think it was.
I remember that bad
Like
motherfucker.
the singy songy like good vibes like all that stuff. Like I could believe him again. Going back to like being able to believe stuff when people are saying it. You know what I mean? But then like as everybody else noticed, I'm sure he went off into a like he's thugging hard and he's doing this and he's doing that, and like that was like kind of unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like it was more like a character, which at the end of the day, like, you know, so when this happened, like Kendrick holds a special place in my memory bank because 2012, Good Kid, Mad City dropped. I was in the middle of the shits, like, and that was like a soundtrack. That one, Big Crit, Forever in a Day, and Mac Miller, Macadelic. Those three were like on repeat, and everywhere I went, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and I always felt what he was saying because he was coming from, he was telling the stories from the bottom, but he was telling them in a new way, in a creative way. You know what I'm saying? It
Very.
wasn't just the violence of it, it was the why of it. You know what I'm saying? And it was dope. You know what I mean? Like, especially coming from my perspective and how I approach my music. Like, it was like therapy. You know what I mean? So it was real. And Drake makes good music. I ain't gonna cap on that. Like he makes good music, he makes hits. That's why he has the fan base that he has. A good businessman. But when it comes down to like raw hip hop and just the battle of it all, like I feel like Kendrick won, and on that last track, Drake apologized or kind of like doubled
Damn.
back.
Made the
Like,
soft ass bitch ass nigga apologize.
yeah, he
Bitch
was like,
ass
nah,
nigga, you
actually,
ain't
you know
had no
what?
business jumping that water with a goddamn shark. This nigga is a lyrical motherfucking beast. That was a battle that shouldn't even took place. But I'm glad it did. But on another note, how do you feel about Mexican artists' contribution to hip hop? Do you think that, you know what I'm saying, they get looked at and appreciated, or do you think it get overlooked?
I think it's like everything else. Like there's some people that are stuck in their mentality of it is what it's supposed to be, and there's some people that are very accepting. You know what I mean? Like you ain't gonna have no perfect situation, but like if you really look back, like towards the beginning, like brown and black have always been together, like same
Already.
neighborhoods. Like even when hip hop was first originally initiated, when it first started, it was Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? Like which is a Hispanic Latin community. You know what I mean?
Right.
So and if you look at the culture, like right now, like in Mexico and Latin America, just in general, like Ecuador, Colombia, there's a bunch of fire artists coming out of those countries, and a lot of them have like they have one in particular called Santa Fe Clan and a couple others that came around that time that are paying homage to like Wu Tang, that are paying homage to the like '90s hip hop. They have that '90s hip hop vibe, and with the new spin on it. You know what I'm saying? And it's in Spanish, which makes it like even doper. Because like I like listening to artists from all over the place. They got some artists that are like most people won't know about it, but I fuck with their music. I fuck with their story. You know what I'm saying? And it's just dope. Again, it's dope to me because I'm able to relate to these people's experience. You know what I'm saying? As they're telling it. And I understand like some of the mentalities. And being that I grew up in Port Arthur, like I can listen to a range of artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then my brother, my older brother, his mom is from New York, so he grew up in New York. So the first time I heard 50 Cent was my brother coming down showing me Get Rich or Die Trying. He's like, you heard of this new cat? You know what I'm saying? Like, so people introduced me to music, even though I was like not able to go nowhere. People that came into my life over the years would show me different shit, and like I would, like I could tell you, I listened to Get Rich or Die Trying whenever like it first was coming out because my brother showed it to me. My classmate in third grade showed me Outkast. Like these are core moments in my life because music was like that much of a impact on me. You know what I mean? Like it was a form of escape. Like you vibe to it, you listen to the stories, you enjoy it, um, and it's cool, man. Like, but I feel like as far as the contribution, it depends on who you talk to. Like if you really look at it, they have stats where they say that like Mexicans love hip hop, man. Mexicans love rap. It's like corridos. You know what I'm saying? Corridos are about
What's a
cartels and stuff.
corrido?
A corrido is basically like songs that they make when they're speaking about, especially narco corridos. They're talking about the drug trafficking game. Like so, while in hip hop and rap, a lot of them talk about like the hustling that's happening on the corners and the shit that's going on in the inner city streets. Corridos are what happens before that. Like the
I
traffickers
get
that are
here.
getting the stuff over here. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So like I get
Boy,
to experience
that,
both things.
hey, can you imagine a corrido and a Dorito taco and a nigga mixing them songs together, collaboration?
Yo,
That'll
they've
probably get a
done it.
nigga king
They've done it.
charged.
Like they fused corridos and cumbias and hip hop in Mexico.
Talk that shit, my nigga. Get them niggas them cornbreads and all that goddamn chitlins and mustard green. Corribos and combos. Nigga, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Look, what do you think about Mexican OT? Do you think Mexican OT has finally filled that void that the Mexican community been missing since SBM been gone? Or am I stupid, dumb, slow, and retarded?
No, never that, never that. As far as Mexican OT, like I fuck with him. I fuck with his music. I fuck with his approach. He actually flipped a cumbia song into a rap song. And he actually did one recently where like it sounds like it's a mariachi playing behind him, but he's rapping
Ooh,
on it.
come
Yeah,
on, man.
so like I appreciate the innovation, man, and like merging the cultures together because at the end of the day, like if you listen to people's struggles, like we might use different words, we might use like certain different ways to describe it, but at the end of the day, we describing the same situation. Like, don't get me wrong, like everything had to happen the way it happened for this to happen the way it's happening, but we're all like living in the consequences of Europeans taking over the world. You know what I'm saying? It goes back like earlier you said that even in their own race, people are like racist towards each other, like colorists. You know what I'm saying? If you light skin, if you dark skin. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look across the world, across cultures, like whether it's Asia, it's Latin America, is in the African community, like 9 times out of 10, if you light skin, like you're held to a different regard as if you darker. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I'm technically like on the darker side of a Mexican, so I'm called a moreno. You know what I'm saying? Like
You
it's just
call it
part
what?
of it. Moreno, which means dark skin. So it's like it's just we're all trying to heal from the trauma that our ancestors went through when these people came and took our shit or took us from our shit. Yeah, and now it is what it is. Like this English we speaking ain't our original language. The Spanish I speak ain't our original language. But we
That's
doing
why I
what we
can barely
do
talk that shit. Niggas wonder why I cuss so much. Nigga, I ain't speaking my native tongue. I'm talking
already.
this shit that white boy taught me, and I barely know how to talk it. Let me
But
ask you this. Now go
it's just
ahead.
learning like the history of oneself. You know what I mean? And Mexican OT did his thing, man. He's doing his thing, and I've watched a few interviews, and not just like on the music side of it, but just listening to how he articulates himself, how he speaks.
I like
He's, he has his own story. He has his own things that he has to survive through,
I
and
like
he's
him.
doing what he got to do. You know what I mean? So,
So do
like,
you think he's filling that void that SPM left, all those years ago?
honestly, I feel like there was never really like a void like talking about it. I mean, SPM was one of the bigger ones at the time.
Uh-huh.
Um, boom, was one of the bigger ones at the time. But they've had artists since then. It just wasn't like in the full blown like rap hip
Name
hop
one, my
era.
nigga. Name one.
Baby Bash, he did more
Who?
like singing. What's
No,
it
no, no,
called?
no. I'm talking about that gumbo, funk, dope, hood, swangers, sipping, drink, smoking blunts, damn near a
Yeah,
Mexican
Mexican
nigga.
OT. Mexican OT is probably the one that's gotten up there the most since then.
So you telling me it took that damn long? They ain't had nobody in between that time?
Yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you about that.
Told
Like,
you. Tell me
like,
who won. Now you tell me who won.
like from Texas specifically, because they've had like other artists that have gone like on the charts, but I
Nigga
don't know if
Lalo
they were
probably
just
looking at me like, man, what the
completely like
fuck wrong with that nigga?
accepted throughout.
Nigga probably looking at me like, man, what the fuck wrong with this nigga? This nigga that fucked around and lost his mind. Boy, that
Nah, never
goddamn
that, man.
YouTube, hey, that goddamn YouTube boy, hey, you know what I'm saying?
Nah, man, we
Yeah.
gotta laugh so we don't cry, fam. Like it's all good. I get it.
Man, I ain't got nothing to cry about, but I'm broke. I'm rich, nigga. I'm having it around this motherfucker.
Hey,
How's your writing process like? Do you need a Sherm stick from the Sherman, or do you need a bottle of water? Like, how you write? What you do?
nah, it really just depends, man. Like, once the song comes on, like it depends. Like I did bounce back. I had that beat sitting there, and when it came on, like I was just going through it at the time. It was during the pandemic when it was shut down and we really couldn't go nowhere. And like
Right.
now as an adult, I don't like being inside. I like going places. I like moving around. So that kind of fucked with me a little bit because now I'm back in a situation where I can't go nowhere technically. You know what I'm saying? And all this shit's going on. So I had the studio at the spot we were living at the time. So I just ran in there, grabbed a beat, and I just started again like therapy. The first thing that came to my mind was like all that shit I cared about. I was really around that. Felt so many times by the grace of God, I bounced back. That's all I had, and then I just started punching in from there. You know
What
what I'm saying?
y'all when
But I
y'all
also
like
have stuff that
okay?
I like write. You know what I'm saying?
Who taught y'all that punching and shit?
The first person I saw do that was Young Hees.
You know that motherfucker don't write.
Yeah. No, you ain't gotta tell me that's how he did Johnny Cash Sweat.
This every song this nigga got, he ain't got no damn pen and pad. That nigga freestyling.
Yeah, we got songs together. I know. Like we got a few.
Y'all niggas don't
I've been
understand
there.
how talented my baby is.
He is talented.
My baby
I
is
saw
a
it from
very
the jump,
motherfucker.
man. Like
Go
I
catch
saw it from the
on. Hey,
jump.
cash at me right now. No. Nah, hey man, that nigga, that's so fucking hard-headed though. Like, I didn't have the type of budget to really do what I needed to do, like on some dropping bands on this or bands on that. But I had enough money that we could have kept fucking flipping. But this nigga here don't be understanding, man. Bitch ass nigga, if we gonna get 10, 15, 20 yards, Be happy about that. Stop looking for a goddamn touchdown all the time. You know what I mean? Get up
That
the
was the hardest.
field.
Hey, I feel you. Like I had to learn that lesson. Like one patient move is better than three fast moves. You know what I'm saying? Like one step at a time or one drop at a time is gonna fill the bucket faster than trying to put a hole. You know what I'm saying? At once. That
Because
was a
most
hard
of
one,
the
man.
time, like when you take off so fast like that, dog, you're gonna miss some of the writing on the wall. You're gonna have to come back anyway. You know what I mean? You want this
Yeah,
shit gradually. You want this shit, I ain't gonna say hard, but you want to learn these fucking lessons as you go. And
yeah,
man, I learned so much valuable shit. And then when it was time to start like giving it out, niggas devalued it. And that was such a hurting fucking thing because I'm one of them real underground niggas that went through that fucking shit hands on.
yeah,
Pellet for pellet, rock for rock, brick by brick. I'm not telling the nigga go back and recreate my fucking brick by brick system. I'm talking about implementing that and add all this new age shit at the same time, and it'll make you a very powerful individual. When you just disregard all the fucking knowledge I done gathered in all these years, are you stupid, dumb, slow, or retarded? I don't know.
yeah.
So what local artists, huh?
They say intelligence is learning from your own journey. Wisdom is learning from other people's journey.
Combine that
So
shit together.
yeah, and bring it together.
So what artists like you want to work with, mainstream or local in the future?
Honestly, man, like I like working with artists that first of all, like I see that it's in them. Like that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people do this shit for money, which I get it. But like it's in them. And or if like I listen to their music and I fuck with like their wordplay and stuff like that. Um, as far as like and just people that I can vibe with. You know what I'm saying? Because we in the studio and we can't vibe, like we ain't got nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or like if we can't like have a conversation and chop it up and just kick it. You know what I'm saying? I understand it's a business. You feel me? But it's just like as far as people that I would want to work with, I feel like down in Southeast Texas, I've worked with most of the people in one way or another that I wanted to work with, whether it was getting them on the song or buying a beat off them or getting them to mix my song. You know what I'm saying? And then people that like in the industry, like God willing, I'm blessed with the situation where I get to that point where I'm working with these artists. Like I listen to a lot of like West Side Boogie, like Mexican OT. I fuck with him. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's see, just because I've listened to him since I was young, and like 50 Cent or Eminem, you know what I'm saying, would be a dope situation. Um, yeah, stuff like that, man. Like, uh, I really appreciate Bump B's wordplay, like on a lot of his songs. Like Pimp C had a way of saying things, and he said stuff too. And I really fuck with Pimp C because like of like the vibe and the energy he was giving off. But like bar for bar, like the way he would put verses together, like I like Bun B style as well. You know what I'm saying? Like it's two pieces to the same situation. It'd be dope to have both of them here. Like honestly, I remember I was
Wish.
in high school when that situation happened. That would have been dope. I met Pimp C once. I was washing dishes at Roadhouse, and we went out the back, and we was like, you know what I'm saying? We washing dishes, so we're not looking like the freshest. And we caught him on his way out. We went out the back door and chopped it over. And he was like humble as fuck, bro. Like he was real. Like he said what's up to us, shook our hand. Like he wasn't on no fugazi shit. You know what I mean? Like he kept it a
We
buck.
we ate at that motherfucker by that back. Okay, so if the roadhouse is facing the highway, we sat on that left side closer towards the gas station and all that. Not the
Okay.
not the right side. So if you walk in, it'll be to the right. But if you coming
Yeah.
from the back, it'll be to the left. So they combined like tables and shit. Man, it looked like the Lord's Supper. We probably was like 21 deep. And we
Yeah.
sat there and ate and acted goddamn fool. I sold so many CDs from that table. Hoes was giving man, that shit be like a circus. But I'm glad you got to meet him. You know what I'm saying, in that capacity. Um, I wish somebody from the team could have introduced you to him because his creative process also was like he'll write, but then sometime he'll go ahead and configure a verse right there on the spot. right behind the mic, like young He's do, like you know how to
Yeah.
do. I know how to do that to save myself when I've cluster fucked my penmanship. Like I'll have a situation where, let's say right here in my station, I'll write a song and I'll section it out. And then when I get to the studio, I've sat in my station and rehearsed it to where I felt like, okay, boom, this is how it go. But something happens when I get in the studio and the sound throws me off, and maybe like 2 to 4 bars don't even fit in the studio. You know what I mean? But it
Yeah.
fit this whole time while I was configuring it. So I don't know what happened. Do I go stupid, dumb, slow, retarded behind the mic at that time? So right then and there, I'll improvise and create on the spot.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I had that ability too. Also, I don't know if you remember, but the first CD I put out called Dome Call Volume 1 with the girls on the cover.
I don't believe so.
Okay, I freestyled that whole CD. And then the second one I wrote it. That was the one with the Matrix theme. But
Okay.
okay, so you always went by the artist name Lalo, or did you ever have another artist name?
No, it was always Lalo Towers, and basically Towers is just my last name in English. Torres means
Okay,
towers. Towers means Torres. Um,
hold on. So your last name is Torres, but in English it's Towers.
yeah,
What's my name in Spanish? What's Hezeleo in Spanish?
he's Leo. I'm pretty sure. I don't know
Nigga,
what he will be in Spanish. I ain't gonna lie to you.
nigga called me Hezeleo one day. I went to visit my brother in prison. It was a little
Yeah,
Mexican dude. She was sweeping and shit. And I
yeah.
passed by him, and nigga say, "What's happening, Hezeleo?" I said, "What?"
Oh, he just threw that Hispanic accent on it. That's what he did.
That nigga say, "Hezeleo." I thought that, oh man, what nigga? You know me?
Sound like a
Helio.
monster or something.
Yeah, that nigga was pushing the broom in Huntsville. Nigga just called me. You know what I mean? I gotta say, man, it's been a hell of a journey and shit. Still to this day, some of the places I go, people, Hezelio. They don't say that, but they say Hezelio. They don't say that. They say Hezelio. I'm stuck on it. Hey man, say man, that's a wrap right there, man. Anything you want to say before we go, man? Any shout outs? If you want to direct them to any links or movies or anything, man, let us know.
Yeah, man. Like basically, Instagram at underscore L88T underscore uh L88 Towers or Lalo 88 Towers. Loot for short is loot 2 times. So give me the loot. And Linktree is in the bio. Linktree takes you to all the links from the actor's profile to the second Instagram page that has a lot of the acting stuff on it, to some of the films, to the music videos, to the Spotify, to pretty much all the other social medias. Easiest way
Already.
to find it.
Any shout outs?
Man, shout out to everybody I've met on my journey. Honestly, that has like seen something in me that I had yet to see at the time. Shout out to you. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Young Hees because y'all's energy really helped me along the way. You gave me game along the way too, and I still remember a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? Like so did Young Heezy. You know what I'm saying? So did my brother Spider. Shout out to him. He did a lot of my tattoos. You feel me? And just anybody who was willing to have a conversation with me and work with me and just like not just take me at face value and really like just see what's up. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people out here just getting by, man, just trying to make it. You feel me? Like, and that shit ain't cool. So if you have the opportunity to talk to somebody, sometimes people just need somebody to talk to, man. Like, just be an ear. You feel me? And you might, be able to get some off your chest too. But take care of your mental
Hey,
health, take care of yourself, and you can
this
take
is
care of
this
others.
is mental health, men's mental health month.
Is it
It is.
already? That's what's up.
But it's also Pride Month for some of them punk ass niggas that be in the chat. Come on, man. But nah, do me a favor, my nigga. Keep elevating and keep going hard. Striving
Already,
high as you can, my nigga. I'm watching you. Make me proud. You know what I
already.
mean?
Yes,
And
sir.
once you make it, I'm gonna need to borrow some of that goddamn money, man. Say, man, I got to go, man. I appreciate your time, baby.
Already appreciate your time, fam.
All good.